Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg is used to facing irate lawmakers. Now he is facing outraged employees over a controversial company policy, and he is defending his actions. Julia Borston joins us right now. She has more on that front. Julia, good morning.
Good morning to you, Becky. That's right. Mark Zuckerberg defending him in an all-hands meeting for Facebook employees, which sources tell me was frank, intense, and awkward. The company telling us after the meeting, quote, "Open and honest discussion has always been a part of Facebook's culture. Mark had an open discussion with employees today, as he has regularly over the years. He's grateful for their feedback." Now, sources tell me that Zuckerberg stressed the value of free speech on Facebook, which enabled the spread of the word about the killing of George Floyd. Now, Zuckerberg saying the decision not to flag President Trump's post, quote, "when the looting starts, the shooting starts," was a, quote, "tough decision, but that the thought process was pretty thorough," in reporting from the New York Times. Now, Zuckerberg reportedly saying that their free speech policies, quote, "show that the right action where we are right now is to leave this up," and that he knew that this decision was going to lead to people within the company being upset, as well as would spark media criticism. Now, Zuckerberg did leave the door open to making some sort of policy change. Recode reporting that he said that they are considering something like adding labels to posts by world leaders that could incite violence. Now, Zuckerberg's decision, of course, on this post prompted a digital walkout of hundreds of employees on Monday. And sources tell me that employees are still working on a list of specific demands for management. Guys, back over to you.
Hey, Julia, just wanted to get your sense in terms of this employee reaction, how much influence you think that may or may not have on Mark?
Well, look, I think, Andrew, this is really unusual to have this much criticism of Facebook, not internally, because this is a company that's really known for having a lot of conversations. Zuckerberg has these open meetings. He is open to feedback from his employees, but to have so much criticism that becomes external, people resigning and posting on LinkedIn, people posting on Twitter, employees posting on Twitter about their frustration with Zuckerberg. So I think this is really peak criticism of Facebook. I've never seen this much employee outrage before. And I think that I would suspect that he's taking this very seriously. I'm not sure exactly how much it's going to influence his decisions, because many would have thought he would have, if he was going to be influenced by employee perspective, that could have had an impact already. But it does seem like it's a fever pitch there in terms of employee reaction to what's going on and sharing that with the world.
Right. And just real quick, don't you think, though, that even his signal or indication that in the future they could add some kind of labels to various posts in the future opens up that prospect, which is very similar to actually what Twitter did, with the exception of that message that you just read. But I believe that was protected. I don't know if it was taken down fully. I think you can still get access to it, right?
Yeah. The Twitter message was flagged, so there was a warning label on it. If you wanted to read the whole thing, you had to click on the warning label to make sure that people are going to see the warning label. I think that Zuckerberg is going to really stick firm to his commitment to free speech. The question, though, is whether he finds some way, such as saying, OK, if you're a world leader, we're going to put some sort of extra label on it, some sort of solution to flag this kind of speech if it's coming from someone with millions and millions of followers, that would still enable him not to have to label or go through, or in his perspective, censor the speech of the majority of the 2 billion plus people who use Facebook.
You know, the tricky part about this is that there's a view that if you label everything, if everything becomes labeled, that it loses its meaning. There's also a view that if you label things, I hate to say this, in this almost conspiratorial world we live in, that certain people look at something that's labeled and say, well, actually, that therefore must be true, or there must be something else to it. And so I think there's a real back and forth about how to do it. But Julia, thank you for that report this morning.